Hey guys, I hope you're doing good this morning. I just wanted to come on here and explain a few things about activity 2 and help you out with that. The directions, this activity is called noticing, and the directions say in the first column below, list the things that are the same in this picture. And in the other column, list the things that are different. Remember to use math vocabulary in your answers. So that's the main thing in this activity that I want you to focus on, is that you're using that math vocabulary when you're telling what is the same about these two shapes and what is different. And you'll see that there's room underneath here for you to list 5 different things that are the same and 5 different things that are different. So try to fill up as many of those boxes as you can. And so I want to talk to you about one of the things that is different. And this is a vocabulary word that we've talked about it briefly, but it hasn't been a big focus. So that's why I'm going to put this one in the box, and you can include it too. One thing that's different about these is they have a different perimeter. And I'm going to use this vocabulary word in my answer, perimeter. And I want to count and see what the perimeter is of each of the shapes. And to find the perimeter, I'm counting the distance between each of these dots. So it's kind of like if we had a little person standing here, put a little stick man here. If we had this little man here and he was going to walk all the way around the shape, how many steps would he have to take if he could take one step between each of the dots? So he would go 1, 2, 3, 4. Then he would turn the corner and go 5, 6. Then he would turn another corner, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So the perimeter of the first rectangle is 12 units. And remember, we call it units because we don't know here if it's inches or feet, or maybe each of those little spaces is a mile. We don't know what that unit is, so we just call it units. So the first rectangle has the perimeter of 12 units. So I'm going to say one rectangle's perimeter, I've got to go over here, is 12 units. And let me see what the other one is. If I start here and I count going around, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 units. So one rectangle's perimeter is 12 units. The other is 10 units. So that's one way that these two rectangles are different. And I wanted to do that one because I knew you might not think of the word perimeter, or maybe even be familiar with the word perimeter. So this is one thing that is different. Now, I'm not going to fill in any more of the things that are the same and different, but I do want to give you a little bit of help coming up with some of those things. So I've made up here at the top, I've put the 2 pictures, and I'm going to brainstorm a list of some of the vocabulary words that you might include in an answer when you're telling about how these things are the same or different. So some of the things that you could talk about, since we talked about perimeter, you could also talk about the area of the shapes. Remember, we find the area by counting the squares inside. And when we talk about area, we want to be sure we include the vocabulary square units, not just units, but square units. And we can also write that like this, remember? We can write the U and put the raised up to, square units. You might also talk about the shape, the word shape, or let's even use a better word than shape, and let's say polygon. And we could also use the word quadrilateral. You might use the word rectangle or maybe square. You could also talk about the size. That's a math word, size. We could talk about you could mention a multiplication fact that you could use with these if you're thinking about them like an array. So think about these things. These are just some of the math words you could use. I bet you can come up with even more that you could use in describing these. So think about how they are the same as far as their shape or their size or the just any of the things that we've talked about. And also think about how they are different. And let's see what kind of list you can come up with. Today, I'll have you share a few of these with me at our meeting. So bring your paper filled out with you, if you will, to the class meeting, and we'll talk about these for just a few minutes. So if you have any questions, feel free to send me a message, and I'll be happy to help as much as I can. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.